encourage your soul, enlighten your mind, and empower your faith. This is the Light Network.
You know what time it is, no matter where you've been. So let's do it again. Listen up and let the sun shine in. We've got Ghoul Training, because all ghouls matter.
And here's Daniel, Alan, and Joe.
You know what's better, Daniel and Joe, better than April the 15th?
What?
What's that?
Well, it's a one-time-a-year themed episode. You know, you pay taxes one time a year, and that's not a lot of fun. But when we do our themed episode one time a year, it's a lot of fun, not only for us, but also for the dear listener. And that's what's about to take place.
That's what we're about to do to them, huh?
That's
I got you.
right. So if everybody's ready to jump in and hang on, as Briscoe Darling would say.
Well, we got to tell the people what we're talking about, though.
Yeah, I still think you're connected to that law firm.
The law. You think I'm getting kickbacks from saying for the people?
You are for the
I think
people.
everybody's for the people. So we in the past we've covered witches. We've covered, for lack of a better term, the undead, people that have been resurrected and things.
Crazy Eddie.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. But today, we're covering something a little more gruesome in the spirit of the season. We're going to talk murder.
I don't know about that, Joe.
Yeah, well, it turns out there's a lot of that in the Bible.
I know, but still.
It is. And both of these, I don't know, are they murders or are they assassinations? What's the difference?
I don't know. I think we
know.
go...
I'm a conspiracy theorist, so...
We're going to go through this. We'll let the listener decide. Now, we're about... okay, this is dangerous, but we're about to bring back something that hasn't been seen since our first Ghoul Training episode.
Really?
4 years ago.
What's that?
The Soul Training players.
Oh, yeah.
We've threatened to bring them back, and it's happening. So without further ado...
You need some kind of little sound cue or something whenever you say the Soul Training players.
Soul Training players.
Without further ado.
Yeah. Without further ado, are you ready?
I didn't know you spoke French.
All right, here we go. After 20 years of cruel oppression under Sisera, commander of Jabin's army, the Lord delivered Israel into the hands of a judge and prophetess, Deborah. Following her lead, Barak's forces clashed with Sisera's, and the battle was fierce. But, despite his mighty chariots and ironclad warriors, Sisera's army fell at the hand of Israel's sword. In the chaos, Sisera fled. Sisera, once feared and powerful, now ran for his life, desperate and alone. He stumbled through the wilderness, his eyes scanning the horizon for safety. And then he saw it, a tent in the distance, standing alone. It was the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. There was peace between Heber's house and Sisera's king Jabin. Sisera, believing he had found sanctuary, approached.
Please, hide me. I need rest.
Come in, my lord. Do not be afraid.
Jael greeted Sisera with a soft smile, her eyes unreadable. She welcomed him into her tent, offering him safety from the approaching army of Barak.
Here, rest. I will cover you.
That's you, Alan.
Water, please. Give me water. I am thirsty.
I have something better than water.
Instead of water, Jael handed Sisera a bottle of milk. He drank deeply, his body relaxing, his eyelids heavy. As Sisera drifted into a deep, exhausted sleep, Jael's eyes sharpened. She moved silently, her heart steady, her resolve like steel. Her hand reached for a tent peg, long and sharp. In her other hand, she gripped the hammer, her fingers tightening around its handle. She moved toward the sleeping man, each step deliberate, her breath slow and measured. Jael stood over Sisera. The mighty commander, now defenseless, lay still, unaware of the judgment that was about to fall upon him. Her eyes narrowed as she raised the tent peg above his head, the point aimed at his temple.
For the Lord!
The tent peg pierced Sisera's temple, driving through his skull and into the ground beneath him. His body twitched, and then nothing. Sisera was dead. The once mighty commander who had terrorized Israel for 20 years lay defeated, not by a sword or spear, but by the hand of a woman with a single strike. Jael stood over his lifeless body, her breathing calm as she wiped the sweat from her brow. She did not waver. She did not tremble. She had done what was necessary. Soon after, Barak arrived, still in pursuit of Sisera. He entered the tent, and Jael, calm and composed, met him at the entrance.
Come, I will show you the man you're looking for.
Barak followed her inside, and there lay Sisera, dead, the tent peg still driven through his skull. And so, by the hand of a woman, the Lord fulfilled his word. On that day, God delivered Israel from the cruel grip of Jabin and Sisera. The victory did not belong to Barak, nor to any warrior on the battlefield, but to the Lord working through Jael, a woman who chose faith and courage when it was needed most. Let this be a reminder: God's victory comes in ways we do not expect. Sometimes it comes quietly, in a moment of great courage when we trust in his plan. And on that day, Sisera learned the price of opposing the will of the Lord.
Hey, that had some Telltale Heart vibes there for a while.
It kind of did. And I'm going to have nightmares of you speaking like a lady for the rest of my life. So thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Thanks for killing me off.
Yeah, what you have, 2 lines?
It's like J.R. Ewing. Who shot J.R.? Well, I know what happened now.
Well,
at least you had a dramatic death scene. You could have played that up.
Royalties will be a little more.
Really, you were the kind of the star of this. All right.
Don't feel like it.
So we've got another. Since we have the Soul Training players back together again, should we hop right back in to the second scene, play?
I think the people want it.
You think they do?
Yeah, I can tell.
You got to give the people what they want.
Alan, you want to be voice 3, and Daniel, you want to be voice 2 again?
Okay. Are you going to be 1 and 4?
I
think he can do it.
Sure. I'll be 4. And, well, Alan, can you be voice 4 too?
Yeah, I can do 1, 3, and 4.
You do 3 and 4.
I can remember that.
Okay.
Wait, so Alan's going to die again. Like this episode really has it out for him.
He's okay. He's a big boy.
Literally.
Okay.
Literally, but not as big as you once were.
That's right.
For 18 long years, the sons of Israel were under the heavy yoke of Eglon, king of Moab. The people cried out to the Lord in their despair, and God, in his mercy, raised up a deliverer, a man named Ehud, the son of Gera from the tribe of Benjamin, a left-handed man chosen by God for a special mission. Ehud crafted a double-edged sword, sharp and deadly, a cubit in length. He strapped it to his right thigh under his cloak, hidden from sight. His task? To present tribute to King Eglon. That's hard to say. But this was no ordinary visit. This was an opportunity, a moment ordained by God. King Eglon of Moab was a man of great size, a symbol of his wealth and power. Ehud, with a band of Israelites, entered the king's presence and offered the tribute. Eglon, pleased with the offering, dismissed the others, but Ehud remained behind, waiting for the perfect moment.
You may leave. I have received all that I need.
As the others departed, Ehud turned back from the idols at Gilgal, his voice low and secretive.
I have a secret message for you, O king.
Silence. Leave us.
Now alone in the cool roof chamber, King Eglon waited expectantly. The air was thick with tension. Ehud stepped closer, his hands steady, his eyes sharp.
I have a message from God for you.
As the king rose from his seat, Ehud moved swiftly. With his left hand, he reached to his right thigh, drew the hidden sword, and with a single forceful thrust, the blade sank into Eglon's belly, piercing deep, so deep that the fat closed over the handle. Ehud did not pull it out. The blade hidden within the king's body brought with a the blade hidden within the king's body brought with it a gruesome end. The king gasped, his eyes wide with shock, as his body slumped forward. Ehud watched for only a moment before slipping silently out of the room. Ehud locked the doors behind him and vanished into the shadows of the palace, his task complete.
The doors are locked. He must be relieving himself in the cool chamber.
Time passed and the servants grew uneasy. They waited, but the king did not emerge. Suspicion filled the air.
It has been too long. Something is wrong. We must check on him.
The servants retrieved the key and unlocked the doors. What they saw inside turned their hearts to stone. There, on the floor, lay King Eglon, his great body motionless, the hidden sword still buried within him.
The king, he is dead.
As the palace descended into chaos, Ehud was already gone, escaping to Sisera, leaving the servants behind in their confusion. While they delayed, Ehud passed by the idols and vanished into the hills. Once in the hill country of Ephraim, Ehud blew the trumpet, signaling to the sons of Israel. They gathered, and Ehud, their deliverer, stood before them.
Pursue them, for the Lord has given the Moabites into your hands.
With Ehud at the front, the Israelites marched against the Moabites, seizing the fords of the Jordan and cutting off their escape. They struck down 10,000 Moabite soldiers, strong, valiant men, but none could stand against the hand of God. On that day, Moab was subdued under the hand of Israel, and for 80 years the land knew peace. The Lord raised up Ehud to deliver his people, and through cunning and courage the enemy fell. This is a reminder that the plans of God will always prevail, even in the most unexpected ways. And cut. We'll just cut there. All right. So that's all we've got for the Soul Training players today. We want to dive into anything we've learned, or you want to talk about any more murders? I mean, murder happened in the Bible from pretty close to the beginning of creation, right?
Very dysfunctional family.
It was a dysfunctional family.
Yeah, my connection cut out there for a second there. What were you saying?
I was saying, we can talk about Cain and Abel. We've got a little bit of time left. We can talk about any of the other murders in the Bible because there's a bunch. Talk about David and Uriah. David's got a couple of kids that were murdered.
Both of the slayings, if you will, that we covered tonight were, I guess, sort of approved. But some of the ones that you just mentioned were more murders of the sinful sort, like Cain and Abel and David and Uriah. We might could speculate as to what's the difference. So, what makes Cain killing Abel a terrible thing, David killing Uriah a terrible thing, but the murders, assassinations, whatever, at the hands of Jael and Ehud being acts of God's divine judgment.
That's not even to mention all the people God killed.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And I've heard, our minister, who's really deep in an expert in apologetics, and he would talk about, like, in our nation's capital, when protesting would be taking place, that you would have someone with a microphone or someone in the media who knew just enough to make a statement to what you all just said, to someone who's protesting abortion or something on the sidewalk, and ask them that question. What about all the innocent? What about the lives, not innocent, but what about the lives that God killed? or took rather, and then people just can't respond to that.
So is that a question?
No, just a statement.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying that that's something we need to, in context, that's God's justice. That's when people, that's the difference. I guess I go back to what you started with. There's a difference, but it's the purpose, the outcome. Is Daniel still with us?
I don't know. I think Daniel's I don't know. Who knows where Daniel is at this moment, actually.
He's in his camper.
He's in his camper. Who knows where that camper might be? Well, we're struggling, so I say we wrap it up. That'll be today's episode of Soul Training Players. Hope you've enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something, hopefully. I've learned that Daniel has a creepy girl voice. I've learned that.
Well, wouldn't you rather me have a bad girl voice than like a really good one?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Because if you had a great girl voice, that might be more scary. I think that's right.
Yeah, that could be more concerning.
Right. Well, is there anything else we need to cover? Otherwise, we can end this one early. Let the people get on their way. I like calling them the people, Alan.
I know that. You hope you don't get sued by those other people.
It's just English. I can use words.
Okay.
Fine.
I'm not connected to
I
it.
know copyright law. They got nothing.
It's all good.
The Rock, he finally copyrighted his name, The Rock.
Did he?
Did he really?
Well, he trademarked it. You can't copyright it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm sorry. I haven't had the education you have, so way to shame me in front of the people. So
Man,
go ahead. That's fine.
He's way behind the times on that. I mean, Peter was using that a couple thousand years ago.
Yeah.
Bada bing.
The Rock.
There's a zinger. Well, Daniel, won't you take us home, and we'll join up again. Maybe we'll break out the players again next year, or maybe we'll wait a couple years. Who knows? We'll see how it goes.
Who knows? Yeah,
at the end of the year.
That was kind of fun. And I got to say that I'm looking forward to seeing or hearing whatever you do in post on this.
I'll do my best.
What you add in there? Let
Work your magic.
I'll do my
big
best.
show magic really shine. See what happens there. But anyway, dear listener, we are thankful that you indulged us with a little bit of silliness, a little something different on our part. Hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we want to thank you as always for making us a part of your spiritual diet. We want to thank the elders at South Green Street Church of Christ for making Soul Training possible. And we want to thank our new friends at the Light Network and that whole family of podcasts for making Soul Training a part of that lineup. And on behalf of Alan and Joe, I'm Daniel. Until next time, keep Soul Training.
Ghoul Training. Because all ghouls matter.
To learn more, you can email us at soultrainingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can write to us, P.O. Box 503, Glasgow, Kentucky, 42142. That's Soul Training.